Ever play through a song and feel like the chord progression is just kind of boring? Maybe you found a lead sheet online or some tabs, but when you sit down to play, everything just sounds too basic. Or maybe you want to make a song last longer, but without repeating it the same way over and over. Well, today I'm going to show you 3 super easy ways to modify songs with basic chords so they sound fuller, more sophisticated, and a lot more fun to play. We're going to start with a really basic chord progression, something you'd definitely hear in a pop, rock, or folk song. The chords are C, F, G, C, B flat, F, C. Sounds like this. So the first way we're going to spice things up is with this super simple harmony trick. It's so easy, yet so effective, and you don't need to play any extra chords or add any extra notes to your chords. All the magic happens down in the bass. First, I'll play the regular version one more time. Now let's modify the bass line, and look closely because this is where things get kind of crazy. Actually, not at all. I promised you this first one was going to be easy, so all we're going to do is make the bass line just one note. C, the key center. This repeated bass note with the harmony changing above is called a pedal bass. Think of an organist playing a long sustained bass note with their foot. And not only does the pedal bass make the chords above sound more interesting, the repetition of that bass note actually creates tension. And when that bass finally does change to a different note, the tension is released and is really satisfying. Here's the progression again, and listen for how it feels when I finally change the bass note. I'll do the first half of the progression with the pedal bass, and then in the second half, I'll play the regular roots. Check it out. But what if you want to switch things up in the right hand instead of the left? Well, this next technique, which I call the root fork method,
What the fork?
is all about enhancing our existing chords by thickening up the harmony and adding some jazz and soul to the mix. Now, to do this technique, it helps if you're able to play your basic triads in different inversions, like this. Here's C major in root position with the root on the bottom there. Here's first inversion. And I'm just talking about the right hand here. In the left hand, I have the C the whole time. So first inversion in the right hand, I've got the third in the bottom voice, then second inversion with the fifth in the bottom voice, and then finally, we're back to root position with the root in the bottom voice. You want to try to be able to do that with all of your chords. So F major, G major, and so on. But even if you can't do that with all your chords, this technique still sounds great on basic root position triads. So let's put some more meat on these voicings. We're going to add 7s and 9s to our basic triads. Now, if the thought of adding 7s or 9s sounds scary, don't worry. When you approach it with this root fork technique, it makes adding extensions like these a heck of a lot easier. Here's how it works. Let's take a basic C major chord, and wherever your root is, wherever C is in this case, you're going to think of it like a fork in the road. You can either go to the right or to the left. Or you could split and go in both directions, like that. Now, whether you're going up or down, you want to stay within the scale. So if I'm on my C and I go to the right, I go up 1 scale tone. Now I'm on D, and that's the 9. So if you go up a step, you're on the 9. If you go down, you're on the 7. So by splitting off in either direction of the root, you can either get the 7 below or the 9 above. And by the way, you can also think of the 9 as the 2. Sometimes that can make it easier to think about. Here's what it sounds like with the full chord. Here's a C major, and I'll go down from the root to get my major 7. And that's a C major 7 chord. Now if we go the other direction, and we go up to the right, now we have a C add 9. If we do both, go down and up, we go from here to here. That really nice jazz chord there, that's a C major 9. And remember, you can do this in any inversion. So if you have C major in first inversion. Now the root is up here, we can bring it down, get C major 7, or go up, C add 9, or do both, and now we have a C major 9. So you want to find your root and fork off in either direction or both to get all of these different chord options. Now, a few things to keep in mind. Adding the 7 gives a jazzy R&B feel, while adding the 9 leads a little more toward pop. And if you do both, you're in full-on jazz mode. Also, sometimes the basic triad is fine on its own. You don't have to add the 7 or the 9 every time. So check out this progression here. That was C major 7, F major 9, G major, C major, B flat add 9, F major, C major 7. Last but not least, we've got my favorite harmony hack of all. It's kind of a mashup of the first two techniques we went over. We're going to go back to messing with the bass, and then if you want to get real fancy, you can add some of those 7s and 9s back in. But let's keep it at triads for now and start by modifying only the bass. This tweak is going to give our plain Jane chord progression a floatier, more contemporary sound. All you have to do is put the third in the bass instead of the root. So C major becomes C over E. F major becomes F over A. And G major becomes G over B, and so on. I love switching up the bass note like this because it recolors the chords without changing their harmonic function. Now, if you want to get real fancy, you can keep the third in the bass and add 7s and or 9s to the rest of the chord. Now, just like before, you don't have to do this on every chord. It depends on the vibe you're going for. Sometimes all you need is that little pinch of harmonic salt. Check out this version of what was once our very basic chord progression. That was C major 7, F add 9 over A, G add 9 over B, C add 9 over E, B flat add 9 over D, F major 9 over A, followed by C major 9. If you want to dive deeper into leveling up your chords and progressions like this, you'll love my Jazz R&B Chord Accelerator. You'll learn how to build your own voicings, create advanced progressions from scratch, reharmonize existing progressions, and analyze what makes the songs you love sound amazing so you can apply those techniques to your own playing. And the best part is, the Jazz R&B Chord Accelerator is on sale right now, so there's never been a better time to jump in. You'll find the link on the screen somewhere in the description below. And before you go, I've got a great video for you right here. It's called 5 Things I Wish I Knew When Learning Piano Chords, where I break down the key lessons I wish I had learned sooner in my piano playing journey.